We all know by now that the internet is a nasty and vitriolic place. Long gone are the days of going online for fun flash games and decompression. Now we live in a World Wide Web where a desire for attention and popularity reigns supreme. There are, of course, those who are still here simply for the vibes. But for every pure soul just wanting to have a good time doing what they love, be it writing, drawing, or making videos, there are an equal number of detractors. Don't get me wrong, the internet has always had its fair share of trolls, but sometimes these malodorous morons cross over from trolling into the territory of being just downright horrible people to the point where their words can't be classified as anything but horrendous bullying and cyberstalking. Hey ya, hiya hoya out there to all my big brothers, sisters, aunties, uncles, and of course, mommies and daddies. I'm Mark, and I want to help bring light to an issue that's honestly a plague on the internet. Those who bully others under the guise of playing a fun internet joke or trolling, and how those who tell the targets of said harassment to just ignore it are really a part of the problem. A week or two ago, I got a comment from someone suggesting I make a video covering, or at least talking about the situation that an artist named Thumin has unfortunately found herself in. Thumin makes art videos in the commentary, tutorial, and storytime genres, with some of my favorites being her Inktober video and her art theft interview. Her content is pretty cash money in my opinion, so when I say that she's in the middle of controversy, you might wonder exactly why that would be. The long and short of it, without mincing words, is because she's been the target of a lot of racist tomfuckery as of late. It became most publicized when this group of knob gobblers decided to take a picture she drew of herself as Kiki from Kiki's Delivery Service and turn it into various racist caricatures. Though I honestly suspect it began to surge around the time she made her blackwashing versus whitewashing video. You see, some people took the fact that they have a different opinion than someone on the internet as a signal that it was open season to act abhorrent and really show off that walnut they've got stashed away in their noggins. Because, of course, it makes sense that if someone says something along the lines of depicting a character who is a person of color as white removes what little representation that group has, meanwhile depicting a character who is white as a person of color isn't on the same level of erasing what may be one or two instances of representation a group may have in an entire series, it totally gives you the right to call them a slur. That's sarcasm, by the way. The main reason I suspect this is because you get megaminds like this motherfucker replying to her posts talking about the horrible racism she's been facing for something akin to cosplaying a character. The conversation here isn't even about whitewashing or blackwashing a character. It's about taking a self-portrait Thumin made of herself and turning it into something disgusting and vile. And mind you, being that one of the first instances of this came from some anon on 4chan, this is coming from the same type of internet user who pisses their pants when you take a cup size away from Lola Bunny or when an artist tries to, quote-unquote, fix Uzaki-chan. You'd think that sharing your passion with the world like Thumin did wouldn't offend these brainlets to the point that they seek you out to verbally attack you, right? Well, if these tantrums from the past few years have taught us anything, you might be surprised. Or you might not, if you have common sense from the fucking internet. I'm reminded immediately of that instance just last year when a model named Shirlene was attacked for her cosplay of Ren Tosaka from the Fate series. All she did was post a picture of herself and suddenly she was bombarded with the same type of messages Thumin has been receiving. Message upon message of 4chan Cheeto Dust cum-stained weeaboos, flooding her replies and DMs, calling her the N-word and berating her for daring to cosplay a quote-unquote white character. Never mind the fact that she's an anime character who lives in anime Japan and so isn't even white. Just because a character has a light complexion, Thumin, Shirlene, and numerous other creators of color live in these clods' heads rent-free for enjoying something. It's infuriating from an outside perspective, so you can only imagine what it's like to have to live through it. Listen, I'm a queer creator who has been on the internet for at least a decade at this point. I am no stranger to people slipping into my inbox from time to time just to call me a slur or invalidate a key part of who I am as a person. But even I know that it's not really the same experience. Because of racist a-holes like the ones who go out of their way to attack Thumin, the internet is made into an even more hostile place than it is for almost anyone else. Now, something I said earlier may confuse some. I hope not, but I want to clarify what I mean when I say people telling you to ignore the trolls are more than unhelpful, to the point of doing harm. The main issue individuals are the racists who decide to act subhuman when they go out of their way to send hateful messages and threats and shit. Yes, absolutely. But when people constantly tell you to stop giving attention to the people who hurt you, when people reply to you saying, "Hey, these guys are harassing me," with "just stop talking about them and they'll go away," it really shows that they only support you to the point of their own continued comfort. The reason why I say people telling black creators to quote-unquote ignore the haters are part of the problem is because of the huge level of ignorance and really the disregard that it shows. They're not saying it in an attempt to support the creators who are facing this in a keep your chin up sort of way. They're either saying it out of a place of incredible ignorance that somehow ignoring it will make it go away or somehow solve the problem, or they're saying it because it makes them uncomfortable to be faced with the fact that people are dealing with harassment on the daily just for being born with their skin color and having the audacity to not be ashamed of it. There's a point where it comes off as telling you to go back to suffering in silence, because they only want to hear from you when it's fun and convenient. And that is one thing that people oftentimes miss when it comes to topics of discrimination and hate. It is so important to not just focus on denouncing the bad people. You have to also support those who need it as well. I won't lie, it's a really common pitfall that people in the LGBT community stumble into as well. People are always so ready to hate TERFs and other types of exclusionists, but then forget to take the time to uplift trans people and the targets of said exclusion. Similarly, so many people hate racists and will go to great lengths to show their distaste for them. But then they, don't take the time to uplift black creators. Sure, it can be a matter of putting more negativity into the world or whatever. But, in all honesty, it's generally more meaningful on a personal level to have someone say, "I love you," than "I hate that guy that hates you." As much as denouncing racists is a vital and important part of being a decent human being, showing people of color that you support them is doubly so. If you want to look like a good person by saying, "Yeah, racists suck," that's fine. But we need to work towards supporting marginalized groups more, especially with the environment that we live in today. With that being said, I encourage anyone in the audience to show their support for Thumin and follow her on YouTube and Twitter. watch one of her videos and write what you liked about it in her comments. She also has some of her designs up for sale too, so maybe you should consider buying some of her valorific art. But anyway, like the video if you liked it, subscribe if you want. As always, you do not have to, but if you do, I will see you in the next video. I hope you have a scrabdangulous day. Later, skater!